Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to Simply Lili. If this is your first time joining me, thank you. Pull up a chair, grab your coffee, your tea, or if you're driving, just keep your eyes on the road and let me keep you company for a little while. And if you've been with me since the beginning, hey there, welcome home. Today, I want to talk about someone we see almost every single day, and yet she might be the woman that we know the least, and that is the woman in the mirror. Now, before anyone starts thinking, oh Lord, Lily's about to tell me I need a new skincare routine, that's not where I'm going. No, 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 that's not where I'm going. Although, if someone invents a cream that works overnight without costing me the same as my electric bill, would you please let me know? But that's not what today is about. This isn't about wrinkles. It's not about gray hair. It's not about losing 20 pounds. This is about something much deeper. It's about the relationships that we have with ourselves. Because here's what I've been wondering. When did the mirror stop becoming a place where we got ready for the day and a place where we held court against ourselves? I said that because this is where my mind has been lately. I caught myself doing something the other morning. I walked into my bathroom, I looked in the mirror, and before I noticed one single beautiful thing about myself, I already found 5 things that I had wanted to change. My hair, the little lines around my mouth, those 11s, the extra softness around my face, and don't even get me started on those mysterious aches that before I even get to the bathroom and to get to my morning coffee, it's like, what is going on here? Seriously, at this point, I don't know if I'm getting older or if I'm actually sleeping in a wrestling ring because lately I've been getting up and it's just been, man, what is going on here? But then I stopped. And this is a true story, I'm telling you, as I've gotten closer to this new milestone that I'm approaching, I've really been thinking about things and I've really been very reflective. I asked myself something that honestly made me emotional. When did I become the first person to criticize me every morning? Not a stranger, not on social media, not even someone who hurt me years ago. But me, that voice, it actually was mine. And I thought, how sad is it that the woman who's carried me through every single chapter of my life is the one I speak to unforgivingly. So this is where I'm going with this. That thought, it stayed with me all day because my mind's always gone. I'm always talking about how my mind's always gone. Because one thing for sure, the woman in my mirror, she's never left me. She was there when I became a teenage mother. She was there through heartbreak. She was there through loss, through divorce, through moments I thought I wasn't going to make it. She was there while I was raising my children. She was there through grief that has changed me forever. She was there when I became a caregiver. She was there when I doubted myself. She was there when I started over. She was there the first time I even sat behind this microphone. And she has walked me through every season of life without ever leaving me. Can any of y'all feel what I'm saying? So why have I spent so much time wishing she looked different instead of thanking her for carrying me this far? I'm feeling it. So that's the conversation I want us to have today. It's not about beauty, not about aging. I'm not even going there. It's not about perfection, but about permission. Because maybe, just maybe, the woman in the mirror doesn't need another anti aging cream. Maybe she simply needs us to finally see her. See, one thing I've been thinking about, I've been thinking about something all week. Nobody is born looking in the mirror and saying, I'm not enough. Or have you ever seen a little girl stand in front of a mirror? Oh my goodness, they're adorable. They troll around, they make funny faces, they smile with, their teeth missing, and they wear fairy wings with little rain boots. They look cute. When they're little, this is the reflection that a child sees when they look in the mirror. And they think that they're the most beautiful thing walking through the through the grocery store. And honestly, they're right. Nobody has taught them to doubt themselves yet. Nobody has whispered, your stomach should be flatter or your skin should be smoother. You'd look better if blah, blah, blah. They simply exist with joy, with confidence, and without permission slips. Because that's what this season has been about. And as I get to wrapping up the season and the permission slips, I just felt this very appropriate and leading into how we can accommodate permission slips with the woman in the mirror. So, somewhere between that little girl and the woman that we are today, something has happened. Who taught us that beauty had an expiration date? Who decided that every wrinkle was something to erase instead of something to honor? Who convinced us that growing older was something to hide instead of something to actually celebrate? Because the truth is, getting older is a privilege. Not everyone gets that opportunity. And I don't even want to take that for granted. I've made it this far. You know, There was a time when I thought every birthday meant I was losing something. I was losing my youth or losing opportunities or losing my beauty. But now I'm starting to see things with birthdays a whole lot different as I get older. Every birthday is actually another chapter that I was blessed enough to live. And to me, let me tell you something, that is totally worth celebrating. Now, can we talk about social media for a minute? Now, listen, I love a good Instagram picture just as much as the next person, but sometimes I look at these perfectly filtered photos, the filtered photos, I should say, and I think if I had 20 fillers, perfect lighting, 3 camera angles, and somebody follow me around with a fan blowing in my hair, I probably look amazing too. I mean, let's be honest. Half of us are comparing our real lives to someone else's highlight reel. And you know what? That could be very exhausting. We're comparing our Monday morning to somebody else's professional photo shoot. And no wonder sometimes we feel like we're falling short. But here's what I've learned: comparison is actually a thief. It steals joy, it steals confidence, it steals gratitude, but most importantly, it steals our peace. And peace is far too expensive to give away. And can I ask y'all another question? I'm on a roll right. Would you ever walk up to your best friend, look her in the eyes, and say, mm, you look terrible today. You're getting old. Nobody's going to love you now. Girl, look at those wrinkles. Of course not. We would never say that. I hope we wouldn't. So, why do we say those things to ourselves? Why is it so much easier to offer compassion to everyone else while speaking to ourselves with criticism? I mean, sometimes the harshest voice we've ever heard is our own. hmm And maybe, just maybe, it's actually time to change the conversation. I've realized something. For years, I've carried permission slips I never needed. Permission to wear bright colors, permission to cut my hair, permission to let it grow, permission to wear makeup, permission not to wear makeup, or permission to gain a few pounds, permissions to laugh loudly, permission to rest, What else can I come up with here? Permission to take up space, permission to actually be seen, permission to age. And today I'm tearing up every single one of them because I have earned the right to become exactly who God created me to be. Not who the world expects, not who social media celebrates, not who someone else thinks I should be, but just me. And let me give you a little gentle reminder. And maybe you're listening today and you've been avoiding mirrors, or maybe you look, but you really don't see yourself anymore. If that's you, I want you to hear me. The woman looking back at you is not your enemy. She is actually your survivor. She is your overcomer. She is your caregiver. She is your encourager. She is your mother, your grandmother, your friend, your fighter. She has held it together on days when no one knew you were falling apart. She deserves more than criticism. She deserves kindness. And maybe, just maybe, she's been waiting for a very long time to hear it from you. You know, before I wrote today's episode, I did something I hadn't done in a very long time. I actually stood in front of the mirror and instead of fixing my hair or checking my makeup, I just looked. Not at my face, at her. The woman who was quietly walked beside me every single day of my life. And something inside me whispered, you know what? You deserve a thank you. So today, I like to read something, and it's called An Open Letter to the Woman in the Mirror. Dear beautiful woman, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the mornings I looked at you and only noticed what I wished was different. I'm sorry that I measured your worth by numbers on a scale instead of the weight you carried that no one else could see. I'm sorry that I celebrated everyone else's strength while overlooking yours. I'm sorry that I expected perfection from someone who was simply trying to survive. Thank you for staying. Thank you for getting out of the bed on the mornings when grief made breathing feel heavy. Thank you for showing up for your children, even when your heart was breaking. Thank you for carrying hope when fear was louder. Thank you for holding on when you wanted to let go. Thank you for every wrinkle because each one reminds me that laughter has visited my life. Thank you for every scar because each one tells me that healing has happened there. Thank you for every gray hair because it reminds me that wisdom takes time. Even if some mornings I still reach for the hair color, there's no judgment here, only honesty. Thank you for surviving heartbreak, for surviving disappointment, for surviving loss, for surviving the days when nobody knew how hard you were fighting just to keep going. People see the woman you are today, but only you know everything that she had to survive to become her. And today, I'm finally understanding something. You were never asking me to make you younger. You were never asking me to love you. For so many years, I believed loving myself was pride. And now I understand it's gratitude. Because how can I thank God for creating me while spending every day criticizing his creation? So today, I'm choosing a different conversation. When I see you tomorrow morning, I'm not going to begin with criticism. I'm going to begin with kindness. I'm going to remember that you've carried me through every chapter of my life. You've, you've been there through joy, through heartbreak, through motherhood, through caregiving, through uncertainty, through healing, through every new beginning, and you never walked away from me. So I promise I'm going to stop walking away from you. I see you now, really see you. Not for who you used to be, not for who the world says you should become, but for the remarkable woman standing here today. And I want you to know I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the life you've lived, the mistakes you've learned from, the tears you've cried, the faith you've held on to, the courage that you found, even when your knees were shaking. I'm proud that you kept becoming. And from this day forward, I promise I will no longer ask anyone's permission to love you with gratitude, with grace, with compassion. Your forever friend, me. Oof. You know, I wonder how many of us have actually spent years waiting for someone to tell us, I'm proud of you. You're beautiful. And I don't mean vanity wise. You're enough. You've done a good job. Maybe first person who needs to say those words is actually us. Not because we've earned perfection, but because we've earned compassion. And if I'm honest, I think compassion has been missing from the conversation we've been having with ourselves far too long. And I'm not going to close out here without having scripture because this verse has stayed with me all week, and it is Psalm 139, verse 14. And it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Notice that that verse it doesn't say fearfully and wonderful made until you get wrinkles, or fearfully and wonderful made until menopause, or fearfully and wonderfully made until life leaves a few scars. No, it simply says wonderfully made, period. Maybe God has never looked at us through the same critical lens we've used on ourselves. Maybe his first response has always been, my daughter, I still see beauty. And maybe it's time we believed him. You know, I keep thinking about something. Most of us spend our lives waiting. We waiting until we lose weight, waiting until life calms down, waiting until the kids grow up, waiting until retirement. We wait until we feel more confident, waiting until someone notices us, waiting until we finally believe we're enough. But what if we've been waiting for permission that was never ours to ask for? Now, what if the woman in the mirror has always been enough all along? Can I Let me ask you something to try with me. Not next month, not on the January 1st when we start doing everything new. But let's try this tomorrow morning. When you walk into your bathroom, don't immediately reach for the brush, don't adjust your hair, don't search for no flaws. Just look, really look into your own eyes. Something that we very, 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 very seldom do. Look into your own eyes, not with judgment, with curiosity. Then ask yourself, what has this woman survived? Maybe she survived divorce. Maybe she survived cancer. Maybe she survived losing someone she never imagined living without. Maybe she survived raising children on her own. Maybe she survived betrayal. Maybe she survived depression. Maybe she survived years of putting everyone else first. And maybe she simply survived another ordinary Tuesday. And sometimes that's enough because not every battle leaves a scar that people can see. And I've learned that. I want you to imagine something. Imagine if every wrinkle on your face could tell one story. One would say, remember when you laugh until you cry? Another would whisper something like, remember when you stayed up all night with your child because they were sick? And another wrinkle will remind you of, remember when you thought your heart would never heal and somehow it did? Our faces, they just don't show age. They show evidence, evidence that we've lived, evidence that we loved, evidence that we endured. And honestly, at this point in my life, I actually think that's beautiful because that is nothing that no one's ever gave me permission for. So today, I'm tearing up one more permission slip. The permission slip that says, I love myself when I lose weight, when I color my hair, when I find someone, when I retire, when my life looks different. No, not anymore, because life is happening right now. Joy is happening now. Purpose is happening now. Love is happening now. And I refuse to postpone my own acceptance, waiting for a version of me that doesn't even exist. The woman I am today has earned her kindness. So listen, y'all, before we close, I want to leave you with one question, not five, just one. And I hope you'll carry it with you this week. What would change if you loved the woman in the mirror as deeply as she has loved everyone else? You don't have to answer it right now. Just sit with it, because that's actually something that I've asked myself. So this week, I have a little challenge for all of us. Every morning before you leave the house, before you pick apart your reflection, before you criticize one thing about yourself, I want you to say these words out loud, even if it feels awkward, even if you don't fully believe them yet. Good morning, beautiful. Thank you for getting me this far. I'm so proud of you. And let's have a beautiful day. And that's it. Simple, but very powerful. Because the relationship you have with yourself is the one that you'll carry for the rest of your life. So let's make it a kinder one. Listen, my beautiful people, thank you for trusting me enough to have this conversation like this. Sometimes this isn't always easy, but I keep it real. I speak from the heart. Sometimes they make us laugh. Sometimes they make us uncomfortable. And sometimes they actually help us see ourselves in a brand new way. And if today you looked at yourself with just a little more compassion, then this conversation was definitely worth having. Because if I get to reach just one person, then I feel very good and I feel very blessed. Remember, you don't need permission to age. You don't need permission to heal. You don't need permission to take up space. You don't need permission to celebrate your story. And you certainly don't need permission to love the woman who has carried you through every chapter in your life. Because here's what I know. The mirror doesn't get the final say. The world doesn't get the final say. Your past doesn't get the final say. God's love and your own willingness to see yourself through grace, that, my friend, gets the final say. So walk into tomorrow, head held a little higher, heart a little lighter, and remember, you're not becoming beautiful. You're becoming beautiful, becoming all along. Oh, and one more thing before I go. Tomorrow morning, before you walk away from that mirror, smile. Not because everything is perfect, not because life suddenly got easier. Just smile because she's still here. And after everything she's been through, I think she deserves that. Take care. Until the next episode, God bless. And tear up those permission slips that are no longer needed.